In the chaos of the moment, Aria Delacroix found herself being lifted into a strong, warm embrace. Xavier Ashford's arms felt secure, carrying the faint scent of his cologne, woody with a hint of musk. As the abandoned warehouse faded behind them, Aria's tightly wound nerves began to relax. She closed her eyes briefly but was hit with a wave of dizziness. Xavier. Her hand clutched his shirt as she whispered his name weakly. Xavier looked down, noticing her pale complexion. Aria leaned into him, her voice faint. "I think I have a concussion. They hit the back of my head." Without hesitation, Xavier carried her to his car and drove to the hospital. Aria lay in the back seat, waves of nausea washing over her. She wanted to vomit. While steering with one hand, Xavier used the other to dial a number. "Uncle Williams, it's Xavier. I have a friend who might have a concussion. Can you take a look?" "Yes, we'll be there in 10 minutes. When he ended the call, Xavier glanced at the rearview mirror. His tone softened. "How are you holding up?" Eyes closed, Aria nodded weakly, her voice a fragile hum. That small sound tugged at something inside Xavier. "We're almost there," he murmured, his voice low and soothing. Through her discomfort, Aria thought, "I didn't know Xavier Ashford could be this gentle." Thanks to Xavier's connections, they were fast-tracked through the emergency room. Dr. Williams reviewed Aria's scans, holding them up to the light. "Fortunately, it's only a mild concussion. Let's keep her under observation for 2 days." Xavier thanked him. Dr. Williams glanced at Aria, then smiled knowingly. "Is she your girlfriend?" Xavier's response was reserved. "A client. I happen to be nearby." "Ah, a client," Dr. Williams said, chuckling as he handed over instructions. "We'll take her to the admissions desk. I'll have a nurse set up in 4 shortly." Xavier didn't elaborate. He carried Aria to her hospital room and took care of the paperwork himself. Aria was overwhelmed with gratitude, wanting to repay him, but she felt too weak to say much. Eventually, she drifted into a restless sleep. When she awoke, the 4 had been removed and she felt slightly better. Looking out the window, she noticed it was already dusk. Xavier stood by the window, speaking quietly into his phone. His tall frame was bathed in the soft glow of fading sunlight. For a moment, Aria simply watched him. Xavier, impeccably dressed and exuding an air of control, was undeniably attractive. When he ended the call and turned, their eyes met. Aria's pale face and quiet demeanor had a delicate beauty to it. Xavier felt a flicker of something but kept his tone neutral. "How long do you plan to keep staring?" Embarrassed, Aria flushed slightly. "I'd like some water." To her surprise, Xavier didn't call for a nurse. Instead, he poured a glass himself, walked over and helped her sit up. Aria protested, "Attorney Ashford, I can manage." But his dark, serious gaze silenced her. Leaning against his chest, she sipped from the cup he held. She couldn't shake the feeling that his hold on her was a little tighter than necessary. Just then the door opened. Dr. Williams walked in and smiled warmly at the intimate scene. "How's the client feeling now?"